Hello everyone and welcome to the Smashi Business Show. Today is Wednesday, November 5, 2025 and I'm Abdul Majid Awan.
Lots of fives. I'm Richard Fitzgerald. Good morning everyone.
Very good morning. Zoran Mamdani will discuss it. But first, the big headlines of the day. Dhabi Media is shutting down ADtv app and moving content to EAN and ADQ-owned STARZPLay. We'll discuss that. Oil pressures ease as Aramco beats expectations in the third quarter of this year. Emirates is eyeing new aircraft deals as 777X delays weigh on its growth, and this is about the Dubai Air Show.
Yeah, but Emirates growing chat, but yes, Zoran Mamdani is mayor of New York.
Yeah, he is finally, and I still think it's kind of like a dream. I still can't believe it. The amount of propaganda against him, I would say propaganda because everyone pitched in so much money just to make Como win or someone else win.
Yeah, he had his little wedding in Dubai last year. We're looking for links. His mum did lots of Bollywood movies.
Yeah, Meera Nair. She's a very big, she's famous for some of the biggest movies and not the normal commercial movies.
Yeah.
Some of the old classics.
It's nice to see America is back true to form. It's a country made of immigrants and it's beautiful to see, to be honest. But yeah, the Islamophobia, it's staunch. And it's actually in the media, like all Rupert Murdoch's titles just make up stuff. In the UK, did you see that thing in the UK where one of his titles said something about the former mayor of New York? They put in the headline, former mayor of New York says Mamdani's policies don't stack up, inverted commas, and he had to come out and said, I never said that. And similarly, New York Post also, Murdoch owns, was very negative towards Mamdani. And there's a lot of people like Bill Ackman, who was in Saudi last week, listening to statistics showing that people around the world, including US, worry about poverty, worry about income, and now they voted predominantly for someone to represent their voices, and that's what politics is. So congratulations.
Yeah, and Elon Musk his tweet was like the standout. He always does this. He said, I don't know what his name is, Mumdumi. He wrote Mumdumi, and he was like, but vote for Como and vote for this guy. And I was like, why is everyone against him?
You know, the funny thing, and we're in media, we're in social media, and the thing is, like, we think that people with algorithms have the power. And we think that the social networks owners have the power. And we think that the richest people in the room have the power. It's not always the case. Like, often it is, but it's not always the case. Like, sometimes the head of a media company, like News Corp or whatever, can't get someone elected. Sometimes they fail. Sometimes the voters outvote their views. Sometimes the social networks algorithms don't convince the masses, right? Now, I'm sure if Musk wanted to, if they really went hard, they could shut down loads of accounts, even more than they're doing. They could shadow ban, they could everything. But I think sometimes we place a little bit too much power. Like, if you're running a big company, you think you control every element, but sometimes the beast, the freedom, the ability to post and like without moderation, per se, is almost bigger than one person. I don't know, like, maybe it's a strong thing to say, but I think sometimes the social networks are beasts that can't be tamed. Like, they just assume that if TikTok moves from China old to US old, that they'll control it. Like, this is what right-wing extremist leaders have been on record as saying, that, should TikTok transaction go through and quote-unquote speak to Elon, as if Elon can control 200 million posters every 5 seconds with an algorithm. Maybe it's obvious that they can, but it's not that obvious, and so I don't know, maybe it's a bigger viewpoint on this, and maybe I'm wrong, but I don't know if algorithms have 100% control over human minds,
And I think, to be honest, his whole campaign, since we're a media company, it shows you that digital media is the frontier, even for elections. And I think Como, in one of the debates, he said that I didn't do enough social media, and Zoran Mamdani did everything on social media, literally. He lived and breathed.
I agree, and podcasts and Obama in 2008 and Facebook, I agree to a degree, but also some people are just effective communicators, Majid, and like every time that Mamdani speaks, and to his credit, Trump is a very effective communicator. He's very effective, and so is Mamdani. So sometimes effective communicators get messages across.
New York City. And apart from that, ADIA has investments in Madison Avenue, Manhattan. Saudi PIF has investments. Gulf Islamic Investments, Dar Global Saudi investor, they have investments. So all of these people will be looking at Zohran Mamdani's coming policies, like what he will do, how he will do it. So it's going to be a very interesting next few years. Moving on to our first story of the day, the big story. Richard was there at the event, and it's Abu Dhabi Media has announced a strategic partnership with STARZPLAY, under which all ADTV content will transition to the new Abu Dhabi Media Network section within the STARZPLAY app. The move marks a major step in the region's digital broadcasting landscape and signals the shutdown of the standalone ADTV application on November 30.
Yes, starting from November 4th, yesterday, viewers will be able to stream ADTV programs, series, films. Excitingly, the Egyptian Super Cup, Al Ahly and Pyramids are in Abu Dhabi this week, so all that would have been normally on Abu Dhabi Sports, that's straight away on the already rich STARZPLAY sports offering, including rugby, Serie A, and some of the other regional sports. STARZPLAY on iOS, Android, smart TVs, and web platforms. STARZTV OSs such as Tizen, LG, Vida, and many others. The integration offers high-quality streaming, improved performance across devices. They've been building this app themselves for a long time, so they've got a lot of the functionality, personalized users' profiles, advanced parental controls, and smart recommendations based on viewing habits.
And Abu Dhabi Media CEO Rashid Al Qubaisi said the partnership reflects the organization's strategy to keep pace with digital transformation while enhancing access to its channels and programs. STARZPLAY CEO Maaz Sheikh added that the collaboration expands viewing options, strengthens digital presence, and enhances competitiveness in the regional media sector.
Yeah, so it's all Abu Dhabi Media's channels, including Abu Dhabi TV, Al Emirat TV, Abu Dhabi Sports, Majid, not our Majid, the children's channel, Baynuna, Yas, and National Geographic Abu Dhabi, along with the radio network as well. The move consolidates ADTV's content under STARZPLAY Arabia, ensuring a seamless, modern and streaming, lots of press jargon here, doors for future joint productions and exclusive content. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
What do you think of that?
I think the point that you made, there's a lot of apps, and I think it has started to consolidate into one basic idea. We saw the Netflix package with, they partnered with Shahid.
Combined the package. TV box. Yeah.
So they're going for combined subscriptions, combined now networking. OSN has a lot of, you know a lot about it, the OSN deal.
Yeah, OSN usually, previously when they were building their Wavo and then OSN Plus, they outsourced their tech, and then when they did that transaction with Angami, they built their own apps.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of the state Emirate-led media companies have had this sort of relationship with tech where they're like, do we build streaming? Do we license our content? Or do we license the tech? And I think, you know, anecdotally, what happened here was ADTV app, they felt it wasn't fully up to scratch, although I thought it was a good app. I watched the Tour de France on it this summer, and it was quite effective, and there's a lot of Abu Dhabi ADNOC Pro League local games on it as well. And they have good Ramadan shows, like Al Boom is a really good show. Like they had a hit show, they got a lot of downloads in Ramadan, Abu Dhabi TV. But I guess maybe strategically they sort of felt, okay, we need an upgrade. And when they went to tender to RFP, the STARZPLAY people were like, hey, well, we've already got an app. And because it's, as we mentioned, it's bought by Etisalat
and ADQ. It's a combined merger of two companies.
Yeah.
They made a consortium and bought 56%, I think.
Yeah, so you know, there's a lot of like decision making at senior Abu Dhabi level now down there, even though the two co-founders are still very much operational and involved. They just sort of decided, well, rather than building from scratch, why don't we leverage our app? Just similarly to OSN Angami, they're like, why don't, instead of paying American tech fees, why don't we rebrand the Angami backend, and there's some good blogs online about this, and put all the OSN Plus onto that code and that tech. And you know, Disney are of records of doing this as well. When they launched Disney Plus in the region, they used the Hotstar Indian tech app to launch that streaming service. So behind the scenes, you've got the content and then the distribution. And the distribution nowadays is a lot to do with apps and OEMs and MNOs. So original manufacturers are the OSs or the TV apps, and MNOs are like the telcos and partnerships. And what STARZPLAY and Danny Bates and Maz have done really well is they have done telco partnerships across the region, which led to that sellout deal, but also a redo and in many places. So when they go to acquire rights for, say, Serie A, they know that they're going to have effective telco partnerships for this data and this integration. So they're making that work really well. You know, anecdotally, it was mentioned to me yesterday, sort of off the record. So take this as off the record. I won't say by who, but they said, like, you know, the value of the company now is 700 million. I think it was the post-money deal was announced as like 450, 500 about a year, 18 months ago. So if they're talking like that internally, that leads me to think that maybe they're looking for that 1 billion unicorn thing, although it's not really private, but I think potentially you could see a spin-off here. It also allows Abu Dhabi Media content and their future acquisition to be on an Arabia app, STARZPLAY Arabia, so to reach a wider audience. There's a few other sort of nuanced things here. You know, all the press releases that the Abu Dhabi content is now going on STARZPLAY Arabia, as if to say there's a licensing deal done. This isn't a licensing deal. Yeah. This is a tech merger. This is migrating. You know, they say the press release has 18 million lifetime downloads of the STARZPLAY Arabia app and 2.3 million current subscribers, which puts it up there with Shahid and ahead of Netflix in the region, we think. So basically, opening Abu Dhabi TV app tomorrow and up today, you have 30 days. You're being migrated. Yeah. If you had a login and there wasn't much subscription on that app, then you move over to the STARZPLAY Arabia app. I was just trying to ChatGPT and Google 8 or 9 years ago, no, maybe 2018, 2019, there was another TV app, and it's not online. I can't find it, but there was another TV app that Abu Dhabi Media tried to code and develop, something TV. So that, you know, like all these media companies, they have history of, you know, OSN had Weibo for a while. They even had Asli as well as content thing that they were trying to do under previous leadership. Dubai Media have their One app, which they use Mangomolo out of Lebanon to build out for them, and they're going to be doing new stuff on apps now as well. And then also in Sharjah, there's the Mariah, which is mirror in English and Arabic. So that app is going there as well. And there's other, like, you know, Kuwait have an app, Sasha, and then there's a Shofa app, and then there's many different apps. And we saw in Saudi as well, there was Dowry Plus, and then the STC have their TV thing, and, you know, SBC shut down their terrestrial TV channels. They didn't have an app. You have Shahad app, which is growing from strength to strength, and then Tamania obviously launched their apps as well. In Egypt, under United Media, which is that sort of state-controlled media outlet, who produce a lot of the brilliant content out of Egypt, they have an app called Watch It, which was independently built at the start and now then merged under United Media. So that Watch It app is growing, and they've increased their subscription prices in the UAE now. So there's a lot sort of going there as well. So the idea is that try to bring as much content in one place. Consolidation is the future. You can't have 10 different apps for 10 different things. I had a brief chat with Mads Sheikh yesterday, and that was the quote he mentioned. He said it's a scale game. And I think it's a scale game if you play the scale game. I don't necessarily think that it's fully a scale game, right? Like, if we thought that cable was a scale game 30, 40 years ago, you wouldn't have the slow rise of the Discovery Channel and or other channels, right? Like Sky entered cable and Fox like 15, 20 years after CNN and others, and they were able to, they became scale on cable. But like, I do think that, I'm not going to use the word niche, but I do think that streaming isn't a zero-sum game. I do think that executed properly, 65 apps could live in the region, as Jan Colleter from the Streaming Lab has done that survey that a lot of people reference, that we sort of partnered with him when I was doing the IAB CTV task force, IAB meaning the internet advertising body. So we basically did that research, and some people would say there's a lot of apps, but from a production point of view, people think there's only one app who pay production companies. So they think we know, like in the app stores there's a lot of apps, but are these all viable businesses? And what the production industry wants is someone to write the check to commission series and commission shows. And last week I had the fortune of being at a launch of Al Daya, which is a new original series on Shahid by NBC Studios in Riyadh. So NBC, the talk was that they're moving from Dubai to Saudi, to these fancy HQ offices in the west of the city, but the offices are different to the studios. The studios are in Al Narjis, near Anas Bil Malik, near the airport, near where our office is. And the studios, Majid, are 4 or 6 big gold buildings, bigger than, fancier and newer than what's in Dubai Production City. And one of those studios was where this new series was launched, in a very, very cool environment. And I think what we're going to see now is that whole ecosystem grow a lot more. I think the Saudi actors are going to get as famous as the Egyptian, Lebanese and Syrian in the past in the region. There's a lot of originals happening. They're very well done. There's a lot of talent. And it's not this sort of Western narrative of Saudi wants to buy Hollywood. And yes, they do want some movies to be made in Alul and Neom, but actually what NBC Originals, Shahid Originals are doing, and what companies like Telfaz and Mirkat are doing is making productions for Netflix and everything. But it is super competitive. There's a viral show at the moment. In English, it's Chocolates and Roses or something. And it's an Egyptian show with a very good Egyptian actor, Figo. And basically, it's on Yango Play. Nice. So Yango Play, which is Russian-owned, newish app in the region, has a very good original Arabic content. They've got more originals and more Arabic content, anecdotally or qualitative analysis on my side, than Netflix do. If you want to watch an Arabic show, there's more on offer in Yango Play, an app that's around 2 years, and Netflix launched streaming in the region in 2016. So they're nearly 10 years here. They don't have an office here. So so again, it's not a zero sum. There is, there was a really good analysis in the US. They did this sort of focus groups on churn and subscription and loyalty of apps, and basically they kind of said was, this is the new normal. Like young people, like your son is what, 6?
6, maybe 6.
So these people, young people and a little bit older, are so au fait with flicking apps that logging in and logging out and managing subscriptions, managing churn and linking devices is just the new norm. So this sort of relationship of like, it's sort of on demand. Like yes, it's a monthly subscription, but sort of this dip in, dip out thing. So will we have 65? Will we have one winner? I think we're going to have constant evolution in media. Nice. We're going to have constant like fragmentation. But I think it's quite possible, like we talked a lot about in the delivery sector.
Yeah.
We thought it was like, for a long time we were told that it's Deliveroo versus Talabat, and then other people drop in with groceries deliveries, and everyone was doing it for a while. Yeah. And then out of nowhere, Keisha do it. So Talabat's share price drops. But the point is that like, if you've got a good offering, you can take market share. Will you survive and evolve? Maybe not. But if you launched a good streaming app with a brilliant hit show, you can get X percentage of the market with good effective marketing over a period. Whether you retain them, that's another question. But I like this press conference. I like what Dhabi Media are doing in terms of recognizing that there is an app that's been built largely in the region with that $30-40 million that was raised originally for a large percentage of the company. I think they went to 100 million, or anyway. But there was a lot of money raised there over the years. Not much spent on originals by STARZPLAY. Mostly spent on tech, marketing, and acquisition marketing. But yeah, just interesting space.
Yeah, it's very interesting. But when Rich tells us, it becomes more interesting because he has so much knowledge about it. Good learnings for me also. But moving on, second story of the day is Saudi Aramco reported a slight 2.3% year-on-year drop in their third quarter net income to SAR Saudi Riyals 101 billion, or nearly $26.9 billion, despite lower oil prices averaging just over $70 per barrel. The latest figures beat analysts' estimate of Saudi Riyal 88.8 billion and rose nearly 19% compared to the last quarter, the second quarter. And revenue declined 10% year-on-year to Saudi Riyal 418.2 billion, weighed down by a softer price for crude, refined and chemical products.
Yeah, for the first time in 9 months, net income fell 9.9% to 283.6 billion Saudi Riyals, with revenue down 8.6% to 1.25 trillion Saudi Riyals. A lot of revenue here. Aramco's free cash flow rose, though, 7% to 23.6 billion. enough to cover third quarter dividends of, wait for it, a whopping $21.4 billion in dividends, Majid. Do you have any shares in Aramco?
No.
Do you wish you had?
Yes.
Including performance-linked payouts. Net debt is to $30.5 billion US dollars, and the gearing ratio improved slightly to 6.1. Sorry to put you on the spot. What's the gearing ratio?
I don't know.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, it was part of it. But CEO Amin Nasser said the company increased production with minimal incremental costs and continues to supply oil, gas, and associated products reliably. He expects oil and gas demand to grow steadily, particularly in Asia, with consumption rising about 1.1 to 1.3 million barrels per day this year and next.
Yeah, so a gearing ratio measures how much of a company's funding comes from debt versus equity, basically how leveraged the company is. So yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
So, high gearing is anything above 50% and low gearing is under 25%, which is what they are. So Aramco raised to its 2030 gas production capacity to 80% above 2021 levels, aiming for 6 billion barrels of oil equivalent per day, driven by the Jafurah unconventional gas expansion. The company is investing heavily in AI. We saw an announcement with Humane last week and targeting capital expenditures of $52 to $58 billion investment in capital, which is amazing. Shares rose on the back of this news, 0.7% to 25.79 SAR.
Yeah, the main important part out of this whole story is that last quarter compared to the oil prices were down throughout this quarter as well. But they somehow made money out of it. And the main idea was, I was reading the comment, CEO Amin Nasser also said that now the idea for oil is not prices. We're not playing on prices. We're playing on the market share. So we want more markets to buy from us rather than Iran, Russia, America, wherever from. So it's a very nice strategy. And again, the dividend part. They slashed their dividend for next year and this year also. When they did their fiscal year last year, everyone was surprised that how can they do that. They are the biggest dividend provider in the world, I think.
Yeah, it sets a tone for a region. A lot of these semi-state entities in the region, like ADNOC Distribution and others, and all the sort of RTA spin-offs in Dubai, they all pay good dividends. Saleh, Parkin, Dubai Taxi, and in Saudi as well. There is a retail. A lot of Saudi invest in the stock market more so than the rest of the region, and a lot of the Aramco public market equity is owned by people in Saudi. So as well as the government benefiting from these profits, the Saudi people benefit from the performance of Aramco. And we do sort of see not just an energy diversification, but we do see other diversification from Aramco. A little bit like Etisalat and being a full technology company, like Aramco, like we talked about Humane, but they are looking at other type. And obviously there's PIF, who is very diversified, but Aramco do own Al Qasdiya, the local football club. They're building a new stadium there in the Dammam. Aramco is very much an Eastern Province economy driver. Dammam and Khabar, and there's a new city being built just up the coast there. Called Jubail. Like it's an existing place, but they're building an economic city, and it's obviously near Bahrain, and it's very much if you've got giga projects like Qadiyah, which is the parks that's opening near Riyadh, and Dalia near Riyadh, and then you've got other giga projects like Al Ula and Neom in the Tabuk region, and then obviously there's projects going on in Medina and Mecca and also in Jeddah as well. So on the Eastern Province, a lot of the strategy around there is in the vicinity of this behemoth, which is Aramco. One of the most valuable companies in the world that did touch over $2 trillion. We talked about NVIDIA being $5 trillion, but Aramco is definitely up there.
Yeah. And I think let's quickly move on to the last story of
but
the day.
just on the energy side, so they do think that data centers is an energy play. Yeah. So the compute power that's needed to power AI is all to do with energy. And this region, while we have the gigawatts being built in Abu Dhabi, now we've seen originally Aramco which the CEO of Humane was previously ex-Aramco Digital, Tariq Amin, which Ward will mention. Tariq Amin was digital with Aramco, which shows their pedigree in digital, but also shows like they originally were the first people. I think at Leap a few years ago they announced a Grok partnership, and now Humane have a Grok partnership, and Humane have partnered with Aramco. So I think we'll see more data center plays with this sort of collaboration.
Because they have the energy, they have the oil and gas to support them.
Yeah, like you saw the interview with Swain Sajani about like data centers, like, and the question was by Richard Quest, like, you're a property guy, you're a real estate guy. Are you just building the bricks and mortar of the data centers? Are you doing the power? Everyone asked about the power, and he said, "Well, we're doing the power. We're doing both." So it is a dual thing. You can't have one without the other.
Yeah. And yes, the Dubai Air Show is coming on November 17th, so the stories have started coming in. Executives from Airbus and Boeing are reportedly lining up at Emirates headquarters ahead of the Dubai Air Show, set for November 17 to 21, as the airline weighs potential new aircraft orders. Emirates President Tim Clark, a very nice guy, told The National that the weeks before the biennial expo bring mounting pressure from manufacturers eager to close deals.
Yeah, however, the aircraft delivery delays are constraining the airline's expansion plans. Boeing 777X, cornerstone of Emirates' future wide-body fleet, has been postponed to 2027, 7 years later than originally expected. Clark and Boeing have often public comments, and they've not provided a firm timeline for first deliveries, calling the news in commas bad for Emirates' growth projections.
And Emirates is continuing to operate its A380 fleet, investing $5 billion in retrofitting. It's basically using old parts or new parts into the older planes, while taking delivery of some Airbus A350s to keep the wolf at the door. That's what he said. Clark emphasized that securing aircraft is the priority over seeking compensation from Boeing for delays, though discussions about damages are expected.
He also highlighted the challenges of persuading manufacturers to build larger aircraft as potential successors to the A380, citing risk aversion in the industry, known for its candid negotiation style. Known for his candid negotiation style, he compared airline negotiations to chess, emphasizing preparation, patience, and strategic thinking in closing major aircraft deals. That's a fascinating insight, isn't it?
Yeah. And the most important part is that we saw Boeing do a deal with Qatar. Remember when Mr. Trump was here, they promised so many airplanes. It was nearly a $300 billion deal, and they haven't still delivered the planes that they were supposed to do by 2020. They're 7 years late on deliveries. So I don't know what these deals mean actually.
Why aren't there more providers? Why is the whole industry with a duopoly of Boeing and Airbus?
Yeah. Very confusing, right?
There's clearly demand.
Yeah.
If you're waiting 7 years for a plane, why if we have like SpaceX building, why aren't we more people building airplanes? We have how many people building cars? Why don't we have more companies building airplanes? But it's some fascinating insights in that report, Majid. Like I love the bit about the negotiation. I think that's really interesting. Like we just think like you're just pressing an order, but no, this is high stakes negotiation. Many things at play. Like there's politics and there's lots of power play going on, which is great. And then also another interesting insight there was the risk aversion. You know, you're in an ambitious Gulf region. You've got Riyadh Air launching. You have Etihad making a comeback and trying to go public. You have all the upstarts like Air Arabian. We covered the Wizz Air store. You have FlyNAS. You have all the different airlines wanting a piece of the pie. You know, travel, globalization. Like this is national branding. The power of Emirates brands, the power of Etihad. You know, Riyadh Air is on catwalks in Paris. Like, airline carriers still carry weight. International travel, mobility is super important. And, to have partners in France and the US who have restrictions on lots of things, of like manufacturing restrictions, supply chain, economic knock-on effects, inflation rates, interest rates, different things going on. Yet both those countries are signing the deals for these markets. So I think something's got to give. And I don't know this sector, but I think I can't see us being here 5 years from now talking about 7 to 10 year delays with Boeing and Airbus. I think someone's got to give.
Someone will come in. It's a very big, I think, industry to get in.
Yeah, hi China.
Hi China. Yeah. Maybe they can. I think the only economy in the world that they can jump in right in within a 1 year period, it's China. We've seen their manufacturing. They're crazy.
But it's fascinating though, and I get it. But you know, it's with all the investments going on, you just wonder why a sovereign wealth fund hasn't bought an airplane manufacturer to sort of own both sides of it. Like if you've got airlines, and if you know, why isn't someone buying a Boeing or Airbus or a third entity to shake things up a bit?
But just make it from scratch. Like, no, we'll make new airplanes.
Probably could.
Yeah.
Inside.
If anyone could right now, it's the sovereign wealth funds here who can.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and that's a wrap for today. Thank you for tuning into the Smashi Business Show. Thank you, Rich, for taking time from your busy schedule. Make sure to follow us across all social media channels at Smashi Business and stay ahead with our daily newsletter. You'll find the subscription link in the description.
This has been a Smashi Business Show, a Smashi Business production as part of the Dhabi Media Podcast Network. Big shout out to more than 2 million monthly viewers. You make this show possible. Thank you. We appreciate it.
Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.